Hi, everyone. Welcome to Building Foundations with Sherry
and Katie.
Today, we are going to be talking about construction loans and lending, and we have some great questions being answered, along with some really great lenders.
Oh, yeah, these lenders are amazing and they're so helpful, and they answer all the questions about financing, how much money I need, time frames, types of loan. I don't know. It was very informative.
I actually learned a lot. So, you're going to be meeting little snippets of Parker, Jody, and Dan.
Hey, Parker, thanks for jumping on with us.
We are interviewing and talking with Jody Perry.
Dan Bernard with New American Funding.
Answering several questions. Also, though, on our YouTube channel will be their full video and interview with them. And I think, Katie, they were like between 18 and 20 minutes. Weren't
Yeah,
they
and
something like that?
yeah, and each lender has a little bit different spin on it and what they each
Absolutely.
provide, because they all have different lending options and different loan types.
Yeah, and Katie, something that's always really important to me that I know that we all make fun of is that I have to be in the heart of the person that I'm working with. It's just the way it is. Like, if I don't connect with them, it's not gonna go well.
She likes to be close.
I like to love and be cuddled with my long lost sister.
Yeah.
So I think it'll give you a really good in-depth of who they are.
Most definitely. I think
so.
they both all show their personalities.
Absolutely, and what's near and dear and their big whys and while they're doing it. So watch the video, get some great answers. Make sure you comment if you have any other questions that we can get answered for you. And what do you think they should do when they're ready to buy a house or build a house, Katie?
Call me.
Call who?
Call either.
Call us. Call us. Then we can't wait to hear your reviews.
Tell me a little bit about what products your company offers and, introduce your company as well, please.
Sure. So I work for LoanWorks. LoanWorks is the first AI-driven mortgage company. It's really just interesting and fascinating. And for somebody that's been doing it a long time, mind blown. But so it's important to understand the overall picture of construction loans. I don't know any lender that does not have what's called the permanent or takeout construction loan, because the property's already built. It's like going and buying any other house. The property's already built. They just issued their occupancy permit, and then we do the financing. Sometimes, we're doing that before it's final, like we're getting all the financing in place before it's final, but that's what they call a takeout or permanent financing. I don't know anybody that doesn't do that. That's a regular loan, if you will. Construction, there's really two lanes for construction loans, in my opinion, in my experience. The one is basically what we just talked about, but you go find a builder. The builder does all the work. They have the lots, and then you figure out one of the 5 homes that they build that you want. You might do your upgrades and make some changes and altercations to that. And then you have the builder wants you to have financing in place before they start the build, but you don't actually close on the loan until the house is built, and we do what's called a final inspection. The occupancy permit has been issued, and the construction is complete. So that's lane one. That's
So with
a pretty
that,
easy lane.
so with that type of loan, let me ask you a question. Sometimes it'll take 9 to 12 months to get the home built. Do you do any type of insurance throughout the process to make sure that the buyer is still going to qualify? Or do you tell them not to buy anything in those 12 months? That's a pretty long time. Come on, we have buyers that can't wait 30 days before they have to buy something big. So kind of talk to me, because that kind of seems a little scary for that 12 months or 9 months, whatever it is, and then to know whether I'm going to still qualify at the end.
Yeah, so we want to qualify them kind of in a worst case scenario. So, rates are a little bit higher right now. So we would qualify them at like the top of that to make sure that we're good no matter kind of what happens with the market. We do check-in, like every 90 days, we're gonna re-qualify them.
Okay.
We are gonna ask them for an updated pay stub. We want to make sure that nothing on their employment has changed, that we're going to do what's called a credit refresh to make sure that they did not open any new trade lines. We do have pretty hard conversations with borrowers, like strict, like you are not allowed to do anything without calling me first.
Right.
Question, with that credit refresh you mentioned, does that ding your credit score? 'Cause I
No,
know
no,
some-
it's a soft credit pull. We're just checking to see if there's the refresh actually only populates the new, any new accounts.
Oh,
So
okay.
if it's the same, then it will just come in that there were no changes.
Great.
If there's changes, or even if somebody had like a credit card that was showing no, you know, a $20,000 high balance credit, but they had nothing on it, and now they're at 15,000 and they have a, you know, $600 a month payment, we have to make sure that we're putting that $600 payment in, or they got to get rid of it before we close. So we do a lot of, there are conversations. It's kind of a hard loan for both the borrower and honestly for the lender, because we're used to turning and burning, and there's so much time in there that it is, I mean, we do have our 90-day cadence, but it's also, when you're constantly running and then you actually kind of like lean back and be like, okay, when are the builders gonna, you know, what are the dates? When are they gonna complete the work? It's just a different loan on the lending side as well, and on the, probably more so on my side, on the loan officer side, because I'm the one that's constantly in communication with the borrowers. And it's just kind of strange that you have a year that you're talking to the borrowers about the same house. So that's just a different beast.
So you want to make sure that as a buyer, you really like your loan officer, because you're going to be
On a construction loan, I would say it's pretty important. Yeah. Because you're going to be talking to them, not like crazy. I mean, the work is done like any other loan. Most of the work is done in the first few days of the loan. And then you have the pause as we're getting title in and the appraisal and all that. Just that pause is much longer. And we just want to make sure that, listen, somebody that's building a house or buying a house, there's certain things that they have in common. They normally have some extra money sitting in the bank. They're typically not scrounging to figure out how to come up with closing costs. They usually have good credit. So the class of the borrower is, you have less nerves, if you will, because they've kept their stuff in line their whole life, right? They have good credit, they have money saved, they have retirement or a lot of reserves or any of that kind of stuff. So it's not really I've never had it happen where somebody went under contract for a build or their dream house and then they screwed it up themselves by doing things
good.
we told them not to, because
Right.
this is their opportunity. And you have earnest money deposit and everything on the line. And
Yeah.
for a build, it's a lot of money because they want a bunch of money up front. You know, they want, you know, sometimes they want 5% up front, or, you know, thousands of dollars. And they want their payment schedule through the cycle of the loan. So you have to be what I would call an A+ borrower to really
Diligent.
get into the full construction loan. Now, the other one where the builder builds it and you do it at the end, you don't have to be quite as disciplined.
So as far as a construction loan, the biggest thing is that they have to understand that there are going to be more fees involved when you're doing a
Okay.
construction loan than if you're just buying straight out property, a house,
Okay.
as an end loan. Because we have to monitor this loan for 12 months. Your title company has to do the draws and things of this nature. So there are additional fees
Okay.
that are involved with doing a construction loan that wouldn't be just as a straight end loan.
Very good. So if I'm thinking about building, how much lead time should I have when I start investigating my loan?
I would say at minimum 3 months.
3 months to be able to at least get started in the permitting and all that. Okay.
Exactly.
most people know what an FHA is, but can you kind of explain what a USDA is for me real quick, please?
Yeah, sure, sorry. Um,
Oh, no, we're
US
used to all those acronyms, but I want to make sure it's very.
everybody,
Yeah.
someone was like, what are they talking about? Exactly. I forget sometimes that my language is lender talk. So so what we offer is 100% financing, all, VA loans, which is veteran military loans. And then USDA loan is a government loan for rural areas. What this means is it's not in a city limit. Usually it's, out there by itself, but there are some restrictions to it, of course, for the qualifications, but it does offer 100% financing. So it's unique that we can combine the land and the construction loan together, and also offer that with the USDI option, because a lot of lenders don't. So you can tell me that I can walk in, pretty much pick my land in a rural area development, not put any money down, qualify, and I can walk into a brand new construction home. Yes, you can. And that's great.
Do they have like draws with your one-time buy, or is there anything they have to worry about, as a first-time building client, are they gonna have concerns with beyond just that first initial money down part? Since you closed it?
Right. No, everything, once it's completed, like I said, and approved, it closes. We have a closing day. They don't have to worry about anything from that point. The builder is in contact with our company. So that's where the draws come from, and there's a schedule for that. I've showed it to a builder before, and he said, that looks really well. It's not what I'm used to using, because it can become, a nuisance sometimes if you're wanting to draw and move forward, and you can't get it, right?
Now, with that, does the borrow have approval for the draws, or is that just between the bank and the
It's,
builder?
yeah, the builder will, request to draw.
Okay, and the home borrower do not have to approve those?
Well, I'm sure they're entwined somewhere in there, but really what it comes down to is once the inspection passes for that part, then you're going to move on to the next step. So it's really inspection process to release funds.
Now, do you have an approved builder list so that like the customer knows, hey, these are the builders we have to use your lending department? Or do you have, can they go find any builder and then reach out to you guys?
Yeah, so they can choose their builder as long as they're licensed, insurance bonded, all the good stuff that you normally have to be a builder in any state. As long as they meet those requirements, then yes, we're not going to limit to you who you can and can't use.
So what do you do if you get someone and they don't qualify? Their credit is low, or they have some missed payments, or do you have anything for
Yes.
those types of people who
So I
are
work with them.
concerned?
I
Okay.
work with them. I sit down when I'm an old school loan
Mhm.
officer. I like my people to come and sit in my office and sit down with me. It's a process of where I interview them, they interview me. I learn about them,
Nice.
what their needs are, what their goals are, and then at that point we go through the whole process. If their credit is not where it needs to be, I discuss it with them. I show them what the issues are and how to go about correcting them, fixing them, and give them a time frame of when they can reach back out to me so that we can then move forward.
Perfect.
So I know like we do buyer consultations. It sounds like you do kind of the same thing.
Absolutely.
During the building process, you're saying, I don't pay anything, I don't pay interest. I mean, because that's a very unusual product. So I wanted to make sure that I was hearing you correctly. No interest payments, nothing until the home is
That's what I'm
built
saying.
and finished.
Right. And we will also lock into a market rate, right? So my concern that I hear a lot from people are what's going to happen if the rate's lower. So with this one-time closed construction loan, we will automatically float your rate down to the market rate, and we will only add an eighth of a point to it
That's great.
before closing.
Because this sounds pretty good. You just told us if we're in a rural area, We can get in, we can buy a property, build a house with 0% down, minimal down if we're not in a rural area. We don't pay anything until our house is finished and you float our rates down. So what do I, as a borrower, need to worry about? Where are you gonna get me? Shall I say? Because come on, where are you gonna get me?
I mean, the only thing that's gonna get you during this process is time. You know, it's gonna take some time. If you can be patient and go through the process, and that's what you wanna do. Because if you've ever built a home, it is time consuming and there is a lot of stress that goes along with it.
Oh, yeah.
Me personally, I have been an owner builder of my own home before, and I'm actually under one right now. So having this program to where you can continue to carry on with your daily life, not be affected by, you know, any more occurring debts, have to worry about, you know, different things happening around the house. You have a general contractor there to do all the work for you. So it just makes life a lot easier that way. And of course, I'm sure if you're like me, when I was building my first home, I was there every day to see anything that changed at all. And it was so exciting because all I had to do was just enjoy it.
Right.
great.
Absolutely. Very good. If you were giving some advice to someone who was thinking about building and, you know, getting not even just the building process, but with the lending, you know, what do they need to come to you with? What should they be thinking about? Even if they're planning it in 1 or 2 years, where should their mindset be? What should they be thinking? And this is probably going to go for any loan, not just construction loan, really, but that's kind of our focus today.
So I'm always a big advocate of starting early and get your numbers early.
We want to know your questions. We want to ask your hard questions because it can be a little uncomfortable sharing your financials with a lender, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes it's a little scary. I feel like they're judging you.
Yeah, and you may ask,
You know?
it's a stupid question. It's not a stupid question. We want to know to make that process so much easier. So please drop your question below.
And you know what I do. If you comment and ask us a really great question, you may find a free cup of coffee in your email.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Peace.
Love and
And
real
real
estate.